Chapter 1. It was a sunny morning in Sunny Valley, which is how most mornings in Sunny Valley are. Ollo was sleeping peacefully, but now it was time for him to wake up. At first, Ollo didn't want to get up, but then he remembered that today was the day he was going to help his friend Rose in her garden. Ollo liked Rose a lot, and working in the garden was fun. He couldn't wait to get there. On the way to Rose's house, Ollo ran into his friend Lottie, who was having some trouble.
It's these fling-flinging balloons, Ollo.
Lottie was delivering a load of balloons to the big Sunny Valley Fair, but they kept floating away out of her truck.
If I just had something to hold the balloons and keep them in the truck while I'm driving, I'd be all right.
Ollo wondered if he might have something that could help her. Ollo kept the key to the backyard shed sitting on his table. He took the key with him.
Top, bottom, on, off, down, up.
Ollo unlocked the shed with his key. The shed was where Ollo kept everything that was too big or too dirty to go in the house. There were a lot of Ollo found his old net hanging from a hook in the corner of his shed. He took it with him just in case. Ollo gave his net to Lottie to hold the balloons in the back of the truck.
Thanks a lot, Ollo. That's perfect. Now I can take these babies to the fair.
Lottie was not the best driver in Sunny Valley, but she was the fastest. Now that he'd helped his friend Lottie with her balloon problem, Ollo was finally ready to go work with Rose in her garden. Chapter 2. Ollo was going to help Rose in her garden.
Ollo, I'm so glad you're here.
Rose was very glad to see Ollo. She couldn't wait to tell him about her special project for the Sunny Valley Fair.
We're going to grow the biggest tomato this valley has ever seen. It's sure to win first prize.
Rose tended to get very excited when she was talking about tomatoes or contests. Now, Rose couldn't leave her garden.
I've got to keep an eye on my baby carrots.
So she needed Ollo to bring her some things.
Here, take a look at this list.
Ollo needed to find Rose a rake, a tomato seed, and a watering can so she could grow her tomato.
Now hurry and find me those things so we can get going on this tomato.
Rose had an issue of Seed Fancier magazine in her mailbox. Inside was an article about a new type of tomato called Red Thunder. Ollo decided he should take the magazine with him.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Ollo said hello to his friend Penny, an interior decorator who lived in the woods.
Hi, Ollo. It's nice to see you.
Penny was always rearranging her nest, even though she didn't have any furniture.
I've got to get the angles between the sticks just right.
Ollo thought he might visit his friend Wally, but the gate was closed and no one was home.
Which one is the biggest? Good job.
Ollo showed Rose the magazine he'd found.
Red Thunder! That's it! That's the kind of tomato we want to grow.
path towards the swamp was blocked. Ollo thought he might visit Blimpo the clown, but his door was closed. He thought he'd try back later. Ollo found Rose's rake over at the fairgrounds. He decided someone must have borrowed it while they were setting up the fair. The midway at the fair was still being set up. The fair was still being set up, so people weren't allowed inside quite yet. Farmer Franklin was Sunny Valley's biggest seed importer. He had all kinds of seeds: trees, bushes, vegetables, flowers, you name it. So Ollo asked him for a tomato seed.
Sure thing, Ollo. What kind of tomato seed do you need?
Farmer Franklin explained that there were many kinds of tomatoes, and each one came from a different kind of seed. So he needed to know what type of tomato Rose and Ollo were trying to grow.
Maybe you could bring me a picture or something?
Ollo gave the seed magazine to Farmer Franklin and told him that he and Rose wanted to grow a tomato like the one in the article.
Red Thunder? You sure about this, Ollo? Those are awful big.
Ollo said that awful big was exactly what they wanted, so Farmer Franklin gave him a seed.
Let's see now, where's that seed? Ah, here it is! Red Thunder.
The seed was almost as big as a normal tomato.
You be careful now, Ollo. These tomatoes are still experimental.
Some kids were playing baseball on the field. Ollo decided he'd better not interrupt their game.
2.
Count to 33. 3.
You be sure and let me know how it's going with that seed now, Ollo.
Ollo said he would. Ollo found Rose's favorite watering can out near Lemonade Creek. Rose was always leaving things around and forgetting where she put them. Rose was very excited about the fruit and vegetable contest at the fair this year.
Sally won't even know what hit her.
Sally Salamander was Rose's chief competition when it came to growing really big fruits and vegetables. She had won last year's contest with a turnip that was the size of a bicycle and looked just like Thomas Jefferson. Ollo gave Rose the rake.
Thanks, Ollo. We'll need that to grow our super colossal tomato for the fair.
Ollo has found everything Rose needs to grow the tomato. Ollo gave Rose the tomato seed he'd gotten from Farmer Franklin.
Oh boy, thanks. We're almost ready to grow that tomato now.
Ollo has found everything Rose needs to grow the tomato. Ollo gave Rose the watering can.
That's everything we need. Okay, Ollo, let's grow ourselves a tomato. There! Now comes the hard part. We wait for it to grow.
They didn't have to wait long. Red Thunder tomatoes are not only large, they also grow very fast.
is a little bit too big. Look out!
The giant tomato began rolling through Sunny Valley, causing all sorts of problems. Rose was somewhat concerned about the situation.
Oh no, it's a disaster, an absolute disaster, and it's all my fault. Oh no.
Ollo told her not to worry and said he would go find out if anyone needed help.
Okay, that's good. Yes, very good. I better stay here in case the tomato comes back.
Chapter 3. As it turned out, there was someone who needed Ollo's help. That someone was a clown named Blimpo.
Oh me, oh my.
Blimpo was upset. Ollo asked what was the matter.
I was just outside minding my own business, practicing some of my clown tricks, when all of a sudden this big tomato came along.
The tomato had knocked off Blimpo's hilarious orange-colored clown wig, and now he couldn't find it.
People will see my head. Oh, this is awful.
Ollo said he would help look for the wig. This seemed to make Blimpo a bit happier, but not much.
You're not looking at my head, are you?
Sun. Igloo. Repeat after me. Boot. Moon. Ball.
The midway of the fair was still being set up. The path into the swamp was flooded, like it usually was early in the day.
Move the bugs around until each bush has the same number of bugs. Click on the button 2 on each bush. Good job.
Ollo asked his friend Wally if he'd seen a fairly large tomato around anywhere.
Matey? No, not much call for those in cakes. Not these days, anyhow.
Wally was baking something for the cake contest at the fair. He was known all over the valley for his delicious cakes. Ollo asked Wally how his cake was coming along.
It'll be a while. These sassafras cakes take time, but they sure are tasty.
Open. Closed. Loud. Front. Back.
Ollo's friend Penny was not happy.
Oh, Ollo, it's awful. This big tomato came bouncing by and smashed my beautiful nest, and now I'm stuck living in this.
It was Blimpo's orange-colored wig. Penny did not like it. Did I mention that she was an interior decorator?
It's just so tacky.
Penny said that she'd much rather rebuild her nest of sticks than live in the wig.
But I definitely need all the original sticks back, and I have no idea where they landed. Oh dear. Ollo, have you seen any sticks around here?
Ollo's friend Muriel Moose was working on a big sculpture near the Sunny Valley Quarry.
I've never done one quite this big before. My tools are everywhere. I'll move them in a few minutes so you can get by.
Muriel was busy working on her sculpture, so Ollo knew a minute could mean a really long time. Ollo found a stick near the drawbridge. He took it with him. You never know when a good stick might come in handy. Some kids were playing baseball on the field. Ollo decided he'd better not interrupt their game. The midway at the fair was still being set up. The fair was still being set up, so people weren't allowed inside quite yet.
Ollo, have you seen any sticks around here?
Ollo wanted to give a stick to Penny, but she was way up in the tree. Ollo was a good jumper, but not that good. Ollo found a stick out behind his house. He picked it up. Ollo liked a tidy backyard.
Red. Yellow.
Ollo found a stick by the pond. He took it with him. You can never have too many sticks. Ollo asked Muriel if he could borrow her ladder.
Sure, Ollo. The top is pretty much done, so I won't be needing the ladder for a while. Have you seen any sticks around here?
Ollo set up Muriel's ladder so he could climb up into the tree. Ollo gave Penny 3 sticks.
It's the sticks from my nest. This is terrific. Now I can move back in. Goodbye, ugly wig. Thanks a lot, Ollo. It's great to have my nest back. I wonder if I should get some furniture someday.
Ollo took Blimpo's wig with him. He didn't think it was ugly at all. In fact, he rather liked it. Ollo returned Blimpo's hilarious orange-colored wig.
This is wonderful!
Blimpo was very happy.
I can't thank you enough. I feel funnier already. Whoops, that's not right. Tell you what, pull my... Say, do you hear something? Oh, no! Not again!
Unfortunately, it looks like the trouble with the giant tomato isn't quite over. Chapter 4. As he passed by the house where Wally lived, he heard a terrible racket.
Concern persnickety Jim-crack piece of junk.
It was Wally.
Useless, wobbly, tin-plated bacon jalopy.
Wally explained to Ollo that he had been baking a special cake for the decorating contest at the fair.
But then there was some sort of hoodoo earthquake or something, and my beautiful prize-winning cake fell on over and got itself ruined.
Ollo started to explain that it had been a tomato, not an earthquake, but Wally wasn't finished.
And if that weren't enough, this old 2-bit stove has fallen apart on me too. Now I gotta fix my stove and start my cake from the beginning again.
Ollo offered to help. He liked making cakes almost as much as he liked eating them.
Well, now, that's right neighborly of you, Ollo. I tell you what, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Wally explained that the reason his cakes were always so much more delicious than anyone else's was that he always used exactly the right amount of sugar.
2 cups. You gotta use exactly 2 cups of sugar. Knock me down and call me Mother Hubbard. I'm clean out of sugar.
He gave Ollo a measuring cup and asked him to go and get some sugar.
2 cups. If you see a good tool for fixing the stove, you might bring that along as well.
I've gotten quite a bit done for one day's work. Maybe I'll give myself a raise.
There were a lot of rocks laying around out by the rock pit, blocking the path. There were a lot of rocks laying around out by the rock pit, blocking the path.
Hi there, Ollo. Any luck with that red thunder tomato seed?
Ollo told Franklin the whole story.
Got loose, did it? I read in the paper about a fellow over in Rainy Valley had pretty much the same problem. He finally caught up to it, though, and then made a fortune selling ketchup.
Ollo found an old screwdriver out in the swamp. He decided to take it with him in case someone had a screw loose, which was a common problem in Sunny Valley. There was a blacksmith shop next to the swamp, but it was closed while the owner ate lunch. One cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups. Ollo decided not to put any more sugar into the cup since it was full. Three cups, 2 cups, 1 cup, 2 cups, 1 cup, 2 cups. The measuring cup has 2 cups of sugar in it. Ollo gave Wally the sugar he'd gotten from the cotton candy machine.
That there is a prize-winning cake batter if I ever tasted one. Now, if only the stove was working, we could bake us a cake.
Ollo used his screwdriver to fix the stove.
Well, I'll be, Ollo, you're a regular handyman. Thanks for fixing my stove. What do you say we bake us a cake? Perfect! Now let's decorate it on up for the fair.
Ollo liked the way the cake looked, and thought maybe it was ready for the contest at the fair. Do you think it's ready now?
Yes, sirree, Ollo, this is a real nice cake. I think we're sure to win first prize at the fair.
Just then, the giant tomato rolled by again, and Ollo chased after it. It looks like Ollo's in a little bit of trouble. Chapter 5. Fortunately for Ollo, the giant tomato missed him completely and got stuck in some rocks. He wondered what Rose would want to do about her tomato now. Up on the rim of the quarry pit was a very, very heavy boulder with a notch on the bottom. Ollo thought if he could just find some way of moving the old log, the tomato might come unstuck. Ollo's friend Lottie was out by the quarry, which was strange since it wasn't on any of her usual delivery routes.
Yeah, I took a wrong turn on the way to the fair and I got a little lost. Could have happened to anybody.
To make matters worse, while she was driving on the rough ground, she had a problem with one of her wheels.
It just fell right off.
Apparently, the nut that was supposed to hold the wheel on had come off somewhere.
I can't find that fling-flanging nut anywhere, Ollo. Let me know if you happen to see one.
There was a nut down deep in the pond where Ollo couldn't reach it. He thought it must be the nut from Lottie's truck. Bronny was the Sunny Valley blacksmith, which meant that he made and fixed things that were metal. Ollo asked him what he was working on.
Nothing. Just testing out a new hammer.
Ollo said he had no idea it took so long to test a hammer.
Hammer's fine. I just like doing this.
Bronny uses the stove to heat his metal pieces. The stove was very hot.
Which one of these does not belong? Good job.
Ollo asked Bronny if he was getting tired.
Nope.
Hi, Ollo. It's nice to see you. It's great to have my nest back. I'm not sure it goes with my feathers. I wonder if I should paint it.
Ollo said he thought it looked just fine. Wally was working on another cake.
another dash of paprika for zing.
Ollo borrowed a magnetic fishing pole from one of the games at the fair. He would bring it back later.
Ha! At, hat.
Ollo decided he better not play with the roller coaster controls while it was moving. Ollo didn't know much about fishing, but it only took him one try to get the nut out of the pond. Ollo returned the fishing pole he'd borrowed. The fair people would be needing it. Ollo used the nut he'd found to fix Lottie's wheel.
Hot dog, Ollo, you fixed my truck. Well, I'd love to stick around, but I've got to get to the fair.
Lottie had forgotten her jack when she drove off. Ollo took it with him in case he ran into her. Ollo decided to use Lottie's jack to move the enormous boulder. The tomato was launched into the air, narrowly missing a weather helicopter and a flock of geese. It looked like it was headed straight for the fair. Play Chapter 6. Ollo decided he'd better go see where it landed. Quickly, he tracked it to the roller coaster at the fair, which was being tested by the chief roller coaster operator, Sophie Woldrick.
It was working just fine until this big tomato fell on it.
Sophie was stuck. She explained that Ollo could use the roller coaster control levers to get both her and the tomato down, but unfortunately, the roller coaster was broken.
The primary flux transmission gear flew off and cracked in half.
One piece of the gear was lying on the ground nearby. Ollo picked it up.
I'm not sure where the other half went. You'll have to find it and stick them back together. Then you can fix the coaster.
Ollo said he would help. Bronny the blacksmith was fixing something made out of metal. Ollo asked him what it was.
It's a shoe.
Ollo didn't think he'd ever seen a shoe made out of metal before.
It's a horse thing.
Ollo showed Bronny his half of the gear and asked if he could fix it.
Nothing I can do unless you bring me both halves.
You mustn't push the target yourself. One must hit it with a baseball. That's how the game works. A most excellent shot, sir. Well done.
Ollo picked up the other half of the roller coaster gear.
I must say, I can't imagine what you'd want with that old thing.
Ollo gave Bronny the two halves of the roller coaster gear and asked if he could fix it.
Sure, piece of cake. Here you go, son. Good as new.
Ollo thanked Bronny for helping him.
No charge.
Ollo put the primary flux transmission gear back where it belonged.
Whee! 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 Say, that was fun. I hope you didn't want that tomato for anything.
And what have we here? Invisible tomato? Microscopic tomato? Imaginary tomato? Or did you just get hungry and eat it?
Well, the thing is, my tomato is sort of,
Ollo was about to break the news to Rose that her tomato had been catapulted all the way to France when something extraordinary happened.
It's right here is what it is. Ollo, you did it!
My stars! That's a whopper! I'm going to give it first prize.
Oh, this is so wonderful. I don't know what to say.
Just then, Wally arrived. His cake had won first prize in the decorating contest, and he was eager to show it off to everyone.
Greetings, all. Take a gander at salivating crawdaddies. That's one big tomato.
Thank you. Ollo helped me grow it.
Did he? He helped me make my cake, too. By cracky, that Ollo is a fine fella.
He's the best.
I'm inclined to agree.